We'd like to welcome everyone to today's presentation. And first of all, we'd like to apologize for any delays that were caused because of some trouble that we encountered with our fellow hostees, which is YouTube. But then we thank them for the work that they've given us, that they've put in, the effort that they've put in for this webinar to be live, and the new link and the new event and the protections that they've given us today. So today we'll be having a webinar specifically about the course that we have put together at Letsheng Capital. This is a course that comes from our hearts, and we hope that it will change many people's lives. Going towards the agenda for today, we'll talk about the course, the background of Letsheng, who are the people who have founded Letsheng, and the benefits of the course as a whole. So this is our logo, the one that is in the white shades, Letsheng Capital, greener pastures. All we want to do is to give people, quality and greener pastures so that they can be able to stand on their own and become independent traders. So moving on with today's agenda. As you can see that the founders of Letsheng Capital are two guys by the name of Mlatedi Maduna and Kagiso Cebisa. Mlatedi Maduna studied mining engineering at Wits University and graduated last year. He started trading forex in 2012, and in 2013 he took a course in institutional fundamental globing at Smile Management. He did it for a period of around 2 months and received 4 months training from a professional trader. He worked at Letsheng Capital from the year 2013 to the year 2014. He also did his advanced certificate in financial markets and instruments at Hedge Fund Academy from 2015 to 2016 years now since graduated as being a professional trader. But I don't consider myself as a professional. Since I'm still trading a small account, I consider myself as a retail trader. Talking about the second co-founder, who is Kagiso Cebisa, he studied Becom Accounting at University of Johannesburg, and then he started trading during the year 2010 during the World Cup. But then he started with stocks, and then in 2011 he moved to forex, and then he studied investment analysis and portfolio management at University of South Africa. He also worked at Standard Bank, ACM Gold, Go Direct, and Johnny Tech. These are the guys that founded Letsheng Capital. We actually met during the year 2013 when we were both working at Johnny Tech, and then since then we never looked back. We took our education serious and our skills in trading very serious. Going to this slide, we just want to talk about Letsheng Capital formation. You know, this company was founded in late 2015 when we decided to start it. First of all, I'll just like to clarify that Letsheng is not a signal group. It's not necessarily a signal group. It's a firm, it's an investment firm that we both started and we would like for it to grow. But before we went out to look for funds, before we started, telling people about the investment firm, we needed to, make sure that we have the necessary skills, because what we don't want is to go out there, look for money from people, and then start messing up with people's funds, their hard-earned cash. So we concentrated on getting the necessary skills, meeting with the right professionals, getting the right advice from the right people, who are very good and who know their foundations in terms of trading. So then the company was founded in late 2015, and then we started with registrations and so on and everything, and then we have received several advices from several firms, but then we'll highlight on that. After founding this firm, we then created a signal group via WhatsApp and on Facebook. This is where we decided to help people because of the skills that we have learned. We decided to help people in terms of making profits, because a lot of people out there who are, starting with trading, and others who have been trading, they are not necessarily profitable traders. So we decided, let's give something for free. Let's help people because already we're profitable traders. So we decided that with our skills, let us help people, So late April, we started this group, Letsheng Capital Group Signal Group. We started first on Facebook for a period of about 3 weeks. Then we moved on to WhatsApp platform, which is where we are right now. And then we created a YouTube channel whereby we were creating educational videos and focused. But then we didn't post much on YouTube as we were still doing the course, and we were recording educational videos on a professional studio. That is why we've been delaying the videos, but then they will be coming out sooner or later. But then what I would like to highlight is Letsheng's vision, for this course that we'll be presenting today. The reason for this is because we realize that not all of us are privileged in terms of getting the right professionals and the right guidance. As I said, I did institutional fundamental trading, with a smile global management, and for a company like that to teach people, and they require a lot of what can I say, capital investment. So you need to have a lot of money in order to be trained under them. And then what we have realized is that the South African trading industry, especially on a retail level, there's a lot of scams that are involved. There's a lot of people who maybe learn forex or trading as a whole, whether it's indices or commodities. They learn this thing in about 2-3 months, and then after that they start teaching people and scamming them, receiving a lot of charging them a lot of cash, and so on and so forth. And then I realized that not a lot of people are as privileged as I was, and in the education that I received in terms of investment and the kind of people I met. Like I've told you, my current mentor is Mrs. Marlene Raplin, who is the executive director of JP Morgan. She was once a director of the New York Stock Exchange on the floor. She is now, an independent board member in terms of risk. You can go check her profile at the JSE. She's an independent board member of various, asset management firms in South Africa, which are really making a difference and which are international, including private banks like, RMB, Stanley, she's quite influential, and receiving wisdom and teaching from such a person was a privilege. And then I understood that not many people will have the privilege to receive guidance from such an influential person. That's just to say that's my South African mentor, the person I talk to, or not necessarily on a daily basis, but frequently, and who's available. And not everyone gets the opportunity and the chance to be guided by such a person. So the experience and the wisdom that I've been taking from her, I realized that it's only fair that I give it to other people, because it does cost a lot. She's the one who owns Hedge Fund Academy, where I did my professional trading certificate. So then I realized that with Mr. Cebisa, he, like we highlighted, he worked at Standard Bank and he worked at ACM Gold. With Standard Bank, he was also with influential people who are in the bank sector, and at ACM Gold, he was directly on the floor of one of the biggest broker in South Africa. So the experience that he has in terms of trading, we realize not a lot of people get that experience. So we said we want to empower people, and then we then started sitting down, putting down the course of everything that we have learned, especially in fundamental trading, but also we included technical, and we put it down. We wrote it from scratch, and then we took it to our mentor to look at it, and then she gave us a go ahead that the course is good for people to learn on. So we wanted to provide a quality content, that will make a difference in people's life, because that is why we said for today, in terms of this course, we'll be taking only 10 people. Why? Because we are not necessarily interested in the quantity of the number of people that will enroll. We interested in producing good quality traders, traders that will make a difference. We've seen a lot of people being scammed, a lot of people crying, and a lot of people actually think that trading, it's a scam. Trading, it's not possible, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of complaints and misinterpretations out there about trading, and we want to change the whole picture about trading. That is why we want to give quality content in terms of trading. Going on to the course, I just want to give a highlight of the background and the perception, or how you should perceive fundamentals, because it is the core training of our course, not necessarily technicals. Technicals are there because professionals also do use technicals. Every trader does need a technical background. You need to know where you are taking your trades and so on and so forth. But then I want to give you an overview of fundamental trading. Firstly, I would like to say the chart that you see, whether you use the bar chart, whether you use candlestick analysis, or whether you use graphs, everything that is a price movement, I can say that comes from somewhere, especially in this forex field. I would like to say we have investment bankers, we have private banks, we have central banks, and we have professional traders, your hedge funds, and then we have your retail traders. So, but then what I want to make you aware is why fundamental trading is this powerful. Currencies and exchange rates are controlled, and they are controlled mainly by the central banks. You must understand that each price, before it gets, each price of each currency, especially the prices are always just based on the US dollar. If we want to check the value of the rand, we'll check it against the US dollar. If you want to check the value of the euro, you'll check it against what? The US dollar. If you want to check the value of the pound, you'll check it against the US dollar. So each price that is set, each price target that is set by the central banks, it comes from a series of meetings, with central banks, hedge funds, that are really big and managing huge funds, pension funds, as we know, it's managed by the states, and then commercial banks, these guys have meetings, because banks, even banks and hedge funds, even though they have a lot of money, they can't just trade anyhow they want. Number one, you must understand that banks and all these hedge funds, they are regulated. There are certain rules that they must follow, right? And then for them to follow those rules, and for them to become vital players in terms of making sure that the currency world is stable, in terms of making sure that no currencies are devalued or no currencies are overvalued, everything is fair. There is meetings and consultations that go on in the background, whereby you will have executive board of central banks, heads of private banks, head of hedge funds, and heads of commercial banks meeting together, in the background, and actually deciding on how the markets should flow, on what is the fair price before we even go in terms of trading. So when central banks of each nation, or makes announcement, you must understand that before that announcement, there was consultations, with other private banks or with other research groups, So if a central bank, is to say, let's say, for example, if a central, if a central bank is to say, if a central bank if a central bank is to say that we are we our mandate is to have our currency at a certain price, no matter the volatility, no matter what we might have as a volatility, we must understand that there are a series of meetings that go on, you know, and when the banks trade, when the hedge funds trade, they are going to trade again on the they are going to trade on the basis of the guidance of the central bank. They will not just trade just because they want to go in certain directions. So if monetary policies are released and maybe central banks have certain targets, banks always trade along with what the central bank is saying, you know, because they cannot go away from what the central bank wants to achieve, you know, the objective of the central banks. So they will always trade along the lines of the guidance of the central banks, because even the central banks themselves, before they release their reports, there's consultations, you know. So what the central banks are saying, you know, what the researchers of investment bankers or other big hedge funds are saying, you know, it's always from meetings that have been happening before. That is why it is important, you know, to have a knowledge of fundamentals, because this knowledge, this really risk events that are released, the guidance that we receive, you know, from the central banks, is more like a guidance of how the big players are going to trade, you know. That is why it is important for us, you know, to understand fundamental trading, because it is not just words, it is not just guidance, but because of the regulations that are put in place, you know, because of the regulations that are put in place for 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 the regulations that are put in place, you know, for what you call, for these private banks, for the hedge funds, for the central bankers, you know, they abide by those rules in order to support the central banks and to ensure that each nation's currency, you know, perform according to the objectives of the central banks, despite the volatility that you will see. That is why the fundamental trading is important, because each guidance, you know, gives us an overall picture of what the banks are trying to achieve, and that guidance will automatically gives us, you know, a guidance on how the hedge funds and the private banks are going to trade. That is why it's very important for us, you know, to know those facts. So then, which comes to our fundamental trading, yeah, you know, course, because now when you understand, you know, how the big players are looking at, because the big players are the ones that move the markets, you know, with trillions of dollars, you know, they're the ones that move the actual pips, the actual differences in currencies that you see, you know. So that is why fundamental trading is very important. So that is why our course, you know, from what we have learned, you know, because we've went to a good institutional trading firms, and we've received, you know, guidance and wisdom from influential people, and that is why we want, you know, to give back, you know, to people, and to ensure that the guidance that we have received, the wisdom, the teaching, you know, the psychological training that we received, you know, from these people, you know, we can at least, you know, give it to other people and not be selfish in a way, you know. So with that is why we designed this course, you know. So this course, you know, of fundamental trading and technical will consist of, you know, global economy and microeconomics for traders, you know, because macroeconomics is the money, includes monetary policy, you know, the GDP guidance and everything that you can find. We're going to teach you on all indicators that you can find, all the tools that are used by the central banks to manipulate or whether to achieve their objectives in terms of price of each currency of each country, and then we're going also to teach is going to consist of central bank statements and how to interpret them, because each and every month, if each and every month central banks produces the statements and give guidance to the market and the economists out there to say, okay, this is what we want to achieve, this is what we're looking at, these are the tools that we might use, these are the indicators that you might watch for. The indicators might be inflation, this is where our target we want to be, the interest rate, this is where our target where our target would like it to be. So our course is going to include those statements, how to interpret them, the risk events, how to predict economic data, and turning that economic data into actual currency trades, because a lot of statements are out there, a lot of statements get released, but people they struggle in terms of predicting economic data and turning economic data into trade. What they see is just a narrative, it's just written lines. They cannot actually make trades out of the statements that are released by the central banks. So we also going to teach on portfolio management. So our course is not only going to include forex. That's what we like to see. That is why we teach fundamentals. It's not only going to include forex, but it's going to give you a holistic picture of investment in a whole, whether you want to go to options or futures or commodities, but giving you that light in terms of having a portfolio management, or when you want to diversify your portfolio from the forex field, whether you want to go to which is our recent field of interest, this thing, buildings and so on and so forth, property investment. So that is why we include portfolio management and the structure of the investment bank, because it's very important that you understand how investment bankers are structured, how they do their research, how the research move from the researchers to the actual traders themselves. And this course will also include technical trading, whereby we'll be teaching you on important trading levels, because not every price, not every level is tradable. We need to look at confluence, at high probability areas where you can take trades. And then we're going to teach you on the RSI indicator and also moving averages, because with the wisdom that we received, from these firms, we realized that we were taught mostly on RSI and moving averages, because these firms, they have technical traders and fundamental traders. So we received training both in technicals and fundamentals. And RSI, MACD, and moving averages are indicators that professionals use a lot. So it is important that you also know how to use them professionally, how to draw, support lines, how to draw, resistance lines on your RSI or your MACDs in order to find high probability levels, before you even go to the chart, and how to trade with sentiment, because it is advantageous to know, fundamentals, but fundamentals sometimes they don't move the market instantly. Sentiment, the view of the investors out there is the one that moves announcement, depending on the technical levels your price is. So knowing the sentiment and combining it with fundamentals and technical trading will make you a holistic trader. So that is why in this course we're going to include these things. If you have any questions, please type on the comment box, or just tell us later on. So what the course will include is training for 2 weekends, whereby we're going to cover everything in terms of fundamentals and in terms of technical. But the core training will come from coaching, whereby it's going to happen for a period of around 3 months, whereby from this we're going to teach you step by step, how to analyze statements, what to look at, what type of words give you guidance, and then from there give you homework. From homework, let you do the analysis yourself. We're going to create sort of like a group whereby we'll be doing all this analysis, central bank statements, looking at various indicators, whether it's interest rates, whether it's inflation, whether it's jobs, whether it's earnings, all these indicators, focusing, you focusing on indicators for each country. Perhaps, let's say, when we talk about the Eurozone, when you're looking at Euro, more indicators that you look at is manufacturing, because we know most of the money comes from Germany in terms of manufacturing cars, your Mercedes, your BM. So we look at reports like that and try to analyze and check how the euro will perform. Russia also being a big contributor of oil and platinum, as we know, is the second, largest producing platinum country in the world after South Africa. So we look at those things that affect each currency. When you look at the CAD, we know we're looking at oil. When you look at the US, you look at manufacturing, you look at overall earnings, how the economy is performing, and so on and so forth. So those statements, how to analyze them, how to look at and be able to turn them into tradable ideas. So that is what the coaching for 3 months will entail, making sure that you, as you are inside the course, you'll be able to do that on your own, because it's unnecessary for us that just to teach you, a theory based things, and then you go out there on your own, and then you can't be able to turn this statement into currency trades. So that coaching is what we're going to take you step by step, analyzing, trading as a whole, risk management, risk reward, checking everything as a whole, and hopefully we'll have a field trip. That's what we've been talking to one of our mentors, and have, a weekend off with the guys and be able to trade with them. And then it will also include core analysis, whereby we will let the students, after maybe a month or so, do analysis, and then we compare the analysis with our analysis, and then there's a whole lot of learning that will all in all. What we're trying to achieve is to make a new mindset, new type of traders in South Africa, because this type of traders who understand fundamentals in this way, you find them in institutional firms. On a retail level, it's merely based on technicals and not necessarily good founded technicals, what we have seen out there. So that is why we want to take the time and the effort. How you see me analyze the statements, how you see me talk confidently on fundamentals and research, and the trades that we have been taking on the signal groups is what we want to transfer, to this group of guys. This will also include live trading. After doing analysis, we'll be trading live, maybe 2 to 3 days a week with the guys in the group, because we understand others are working and there's a whole lot of things. But then we're going to do live trading, so that they can also benefit from my trading. Because yes, the signal group is performing good, but not every trade that I trade I post there, not every trade. But then the guys here, we're going to trade everything together live, sharing screens and looking at my account specifically and your account, and how we develop from there. So then one other thing also that is important is planning. Most of the traders, they can't plan. They don't know how to plan in terms of trading. What they know is strategies and strategies and strategies, but they don't have a clear plan, a professional trading plan that is clear, and they execute and they follow it every day. So we're going to teach you on how to develop, a professional trading plan that is good, that you can follow, in terms of when you wake up every day, what do you do? What kind of reports do you read? What kind of pairs do you look at, and when will you trade those pairs? You must have strict rules at which price, and then what kind of research do you do? All those things, that plan, you have to write it down, and we're going to teach you how to develop that plan. That is what this course is going to include. And the benefit of taking this course is, trust me, after this 5 months, you'll be able to generate consistent profits over time, not every day, because we don't want you to take a lot of trades. You need to learn to take specific trades that are profitable, that have high risk reward ratio, so that you can make, a reasonable income. So that's what we want you to look at. We must make generate consistent profits over time, and we want people who are holistical in terms of traders. You will know your technical trading very well, and also your fundamental trading, because fundamentals alone, yes, you can be a profitable trader, but you are not necessarily a complete trader. But a guy who's complete in terms of fundamentals and in terms of technicals, can go anywhere. So with this course, the knowledge that you're going to have, we know that when you go out there, you'll be confident. You can go to any firm, and ask and maybe apply for a job to become an asset manager, and so on and so forth. And then with the education background that you have, when you talk to these firms, we are confident that you can land a job. You understand? So we don't just want to give you something. Some of us have the knowledge and we don't have accounts. We don't have a initial investment to trade. That is why, if you can go to any firm and you say you are just a technical trader and so on, most likely is that you're not going to get that job. But then if you have the core training, that is, when you show them the course that you did and everything, it what we're trying to do is create a job opportunity. If you have the skills but you don't have the funds, to trade, this course should be able to put you out there and be able to talk with any investors, understand their language. When you talk of interest rates, because these people, when you go to them and ask them for a job, they will ask these questions from you. They will ask you, how do you see the economy, let's say, of South Africa? How do you perceive what happened at Brexit? What do you think of this and this? So we'll be able to teach you so that you can be able to talk the same language with the hedge funds, with the private banks, with the central banks, whereby with even when any economist can come and ask you, you'll be able to be on par and understand, the language, the objectives of the central banks, and so on and so forth. So, and then, yes, this course will give you, knowledge of investment as a whole. That's what we want. We want investors, not necessarily traders. We want you to be investors, be able to trade anything and everything. And this course will go, we only going to take 10 people. We want 10 because we don't want to take a lot of people and we end up not, giving value for the course, And of course, these people are a test for us. That is why we only making the course for 5,000 rands. So the first 10 people that are going to pay this amount of 5,000 rands are the ones that we're going to train, and spend time with and help them, And then after that, that's when, if things are okay, that's when we can think of taking another group and teaching it. So this course are going to cover mostly the notes and everything, because it's very thick, And one other thing that we must stress is we don't want people who just come, for quick teaching, or who wants to, to turn into formidable, fundamentals and technical traders. Now we need people who are patient and people who will go with us and who will, actually, take their time to read, because there's a lot of reading that is going to take place. You're going to have to read statements, you're going to have to read some books that you're going to refer, you're going to have to read a lot of things. So it will want people who are eager to learn, not just anyone, people who are eager to learn about the market as a whole, people who are eager to learn and have their knowledge stimulated, and taken to another level. So those are the kind of people we are looking for. That is why we are not going to charge you a hefty price of about 15,000-20,000. No, we just want 5,000, which is going to cover basically, the cost of live homes, notes, and everything, and so on and so forth. but we only want 10 people. We'll give an indication on the Facebook Letsheng group, on South Africa Youngest Trader, on the timeline, on Letsheng signals, to say that we have received the 10 people. So then this we're giving a period of 2 weeks to get these 10 people. If these people come today or tomorrow, we are going to cut it. We are no longer going to take any more people. We are serious about 10 people because that's what we would like to do, and those are the people we would like to benefit. So only 10 people can be able to participate, and in the next 5 months, then we can start thinking or looking at taking other people. But for now, we'll only be taking 10 people that we are going to train and make sure they understand the market, they understand fundamental analysis, they understand technicals, and they become traders that are out there to make a difference, because we said on what we're seeing on Facebooks and various other platforms and what is happening with other traders. So that is why we want less people, to make sure that those people will benefit from this course and they will become solid traders that we will like to see out there. So that is the end of the presentation. If you have any questions, please do ask it on the comment box. Can you be able to comment, because I've never seen a comment, but then I've seen people ask me questions on Facebook. If you're not able to comment, please chat with me on Facebook. I will take the questions from Facebook and then answer it on our live sessions, because I can do these things, both of them simultaneously. So if you have any questions, please inbox me or just type it on my wall, and then I will take the comments. I will, as I talk and ask the questions, everyone will be able to participate, because I haven't seen a comment on our live broadcast, and but then I've seen questions and comments on the Facebook page. So if you have any questions, you can inbox me or you can write on the wall, and then I will read it out loud for everyone to hear, and then we will answer them as they come. So I'll be waiting for the comments and questions. If they are not there, I will tell you. Yes, people are typing. Let's just wait for them to finish. Yes, we have received an indication that the people can't comment on our live broadcast. I'm not sure why, because I did open the comment section and the chat tab, but then it's fine. If you have any questions, you can just log into Facebook and ask the comment, because we see Afela Maziko, he says he can't comment, but then he says he will ask his question from the Facebook, so we'll try to answer it as soon as it comes in. Anyone can go type there and we'll answer the questions. Let's just give it a good 1 minute or two. If there are no questions, then we will close off the session for today. Okay, in the meantime, while we are waiting for the comments, we can just play a bit of music so that people cannot just, you know.
These niggas hungry for real. They hunting money for real. Forgetting real is the life.
All right, we have a question from Avela Maziko. He's saying that okay, he can be able to get the money for the course, but then how much will he need to open a live account? Okay, Mr. Avela, you know, to open a live account, we cannot say, you know, start with 20,000, start with 5,000. It just depends on how much you want your on your account and how much you want to make. And then with that, you know, you have to understand that you have to include your risk level and your risk reward ratio. So what I'm saying is that if you want to make, you know, around if you want to make sustainable money that you think is sustainable for you in a month, then you'll have to open an account that is, you know, in relevance to your objectives, because you cannot open a 15,000 rand account and want to make, you know, around 10,000, 15,000 a month. uh, Risk management is very important. You always risk around 1 or 2% of your trades, but then, you know, you try to make at least 4 or 5% from those trades. So then I can't say start with this much, start with this much, but we know the minimum can be around 1,000 rand per trading account. So it depends on your objective. So it just depends on your objectives. Yes. Yeah, we can wait for another question. But then, as I said, that once you have taken this course and you clearly know your issues in terms of fundamentals and technical trading, then even if you don't have the funds, you can apply for a job on reputable, you know, private trading firms out there. There's a lot that are in need of skills. They are always looking for people. If you can check on the internet, it's just that people do not have the necessary skills, you know, to join their firms. But then after taking the course, we believe that you will have the necessary skills if you don't have enough money to fund your account, but to look for a job on reputable firms. I hope that answers your questions and everyone's out there. We see he's typing again, so we'll be waiting for other comments.
I bet I'm alive is a real deal. You love me, my best on me, big still. My visions and missions is big deal. Dominating like a big deal. You telling my niggas to go slow. Money can make your head go. Make you feel like that you own no.
All right, guys, we see there's absence of questions. We will take any other questions on our platforms on WhatsApp and then on Facebook, and we hope that you guys will join us on the course. But then I would like to, you know, to say I encourage everyone to join the course as fast as possible, because there's been a lot of people that wanted to join and pay already, but then I said no, let's wait for the webinar. Unfortunately today we had been hacked and there were problems, but then we hope that everything will be okay, and we apologize for any inconveniences that have occurred along the way. And we would like to say thank you to everyone that came out through today to come and join us. Although we know that we did lose a lot of audiences, especially international audiences that were willing to come and join us because of the inconvenience that we received today. But the recording of this video will be on our YouTube channel automatically right now. Just after we finish the broadcast, it will go on our channel. So we just want to say thank you very much for joining us today on the presentation. Me and Kagiso would like to say thank you for having faith in us and, you know, coming and listening to us. So with those words, we would like to say, you know, take care, you know, have a wonderful trading week. We hope to see you, you know, in the course and actually take this thing further. We'll further do a live Facebook video in order to reiterate on what we said today, so that we can ensure that everyone receives the message out there because today there were many inconveniences that occurred. So we like to say thank you very much, guys, for your time and for your energy and for your ears and for hearing us out. We love you and bye bye.
And I don't you